Shield, no Scott, nice times. And I know we're live now, so yes, he's not even hearing it. He's not even watching. He's not even on live. He doesn't even care. He couldn't care less, Chad. So, all right, guys, welcome. Anyway, to the live viewers. Yes, it's myself, C. Michelle. I'm here with Chad, and we're talking to Nick today, Mr. Cashley himself. He calls himself. All about Cashley, what we've done so far with Cashley, what Nick's done with Cashley so far, and what's upcoming as well. So, if you're a heavy iPhone user, really listen to this episode. I've been using Cashley for years and years and years. I can attest to it to the point where Nick, I'm not sure if you know this or not, but I even sent Chad and one of my old iPhones once so I can put Cashley on the iPhone and then hotspot it from there. So, see, I spread the Cashley love one iPhone at a time.
Appreciate it.
Anytime, mate, anytime. All right, Chad, do you want to get started, mate, with the actual show, and we'll get a crack on from there?
He set it up for you, but I'll go ahead and go.
Yeah.
So, welcome everyone. It's Wednesday. It's 8:30, which means that it's once again time for the Geocaching Podcast. My name is Taz, and also known as Chaz and Chadley and Cheddington Bear. And
Cheddington Bear is my favorite.
Yeah, please welcome to my virtual left, C. Michelle.
Now, see, that's supposed to be you, Chad. This has got it all back to front. You're supposed to say, howdy all, and welcome iPhone users. It's time for Cashley updates. I then say,
I know he had it set up for you to say that the beginning line, and you didn't say it.
Yeah, well, didn't you have the music first? Look at all this. Oh, wow.
I don't have the music.
I
do not have the music.
Anyway, look, we're already bickering with two children bickering as well while the parents are away. Meanwhile, everyone else, tonight's episode 870, recorded live on July 2nd, 2025, is Cashley updates and discussions. The phone lines are closed. That's right. They're not open tonight because we don't have Scott involved. We don't have me doing their phone line, so they can't be there. Meanwhile, Chad. Mm-hmm. Let's talk Patreon, Chad. It costs a lot of money to make this podcast work, and we really could use your help. There's two ways to help us out, Chad. Did I pause in the wrong spot? I think I paused in the wrong spot. I did. First is to make a one-time payment via PayPal. That's paypal.me/the geocaching podcast. Or, Chad, or you can join Patreon.
Ooh, you get anything with that?
There we go. That's where I got it right. You get extra audio, extra video, only for Patreon members. You get stickers, coins, and path tags and pins. You get the patron-only show at the end of the year where we Chad, we just give stuff away. Do I sound like him yet?
Do you?
Yeah. We're just giving stuff away, Chad. Give stuff away. Chad, we got no new patrons this week. No one, Chad.
Oh.
No one knuckled
pay those
up to
bills,
the bar.
People.
No one knuckled up to the bar. Tiers start as low as $5. For more information, you can join us and go to patreon.com/the geocaching podcast. That's patreon.com/the geocaching podcast. Tonight is a consideration by, blah, blah, blah. Why don't we have the soundboard, Chad? We need the soundboard.
I don't have the soundboard. Otherwise,
I'll
be pushing buttons right now.
I know. Meanwhile, Chad, it's up to you. Tonight's show is brought to you by...
Tonight's show is brought to you by Cashley. Cashley is an advanced geocaching app for iOS. It features powerful online and offline features, including filter searches, offline maps, and offline saving of caches. Cashley has hundreds of advanced features that will make your geocaching experience just that much better. Get more info at cashley.com. That's CACHLY.com.
And it's also sponsored by Logwork. Logwork are the creators of the fantastic logbook made with the genuine Write in the Rain paper. The logbook is designed for the micro containers of the present and future, geared towards the hider who would rather go caching than do cache maintenance. You can find them at logwork.com. That's LOGWERK.com.
It's also brought to you by FTF Geocacher Magazine. FTF Geocacher is the magazine for geocachers written by geocachers. With 6 issues a year, FTF offers practical advice, hints and tips, cacher bios and milestones, geocaching events, trail tales, and all things geo-related. Find them at ftfgeocacher.com.
And by the Max Heads Body Company. Max Heads Body Company makes handmade bath and body products from all natural oils and butters. Items such as Poison Begone soap, itch spray, 2-cent choices of bug spray are all great for outdoor enthusiasts like geocachers. At Max Heads Body, we have you covered from head to toe. Find them at maxheadsbody.com. That's MACSUDSBODY.com.
Okay, so I got to play the Scott roll here.
Okay.
What's that second word there after Mac?
maxsudsbody.com.
Suds. Sounds like you're saying suds.
maxsudsbody.com.
Yeah, it's Mac
maxsudsbody.com. Yeah.
Suds.
maxudsbody.com.
All right. I just got to poke on the accent there. And by Practical Geocaching. Who? Practical
There you
Geocaching.
go. That's what you get. See?
This doesn't make sense with the wording there.
Don't take it out. Just don't read it. Just don't read it. You don't have to.
At Practical Geocaching, we have something new for you this summer. New freebie offers through September 30th. Receive 1 pack of our new LEGO log roller with any order of $25 or more. Receive a bundle of 52 Right in the Rain cut logs with any order of $50 or more. Or receive our EDC TOTS tools of the trade with any order of $100 or more, which includes a stainless steel mini multi-tool, Eversharp Scribe, Deluxe log roller, titanium tweezers, rechargeable 800 lumen flashlight, and rare earth magnet. Find them at practicalgeocaching.com. That's PRACTICAL geocaching.com.
And by Arted Crafted. Arted Crafted creates unique geocaching themed tees and custom designs for you or your geocaching group, with adult sizes ranging from small to 5XL. If you have an idea for a shirt design and cannot find it, then you've gone to the right place. Give them the opportunity to show you just how they can enhance your caching experience with your own custom design. Visit them at artandcrafted.com. That's ARTEDCRAFTED.com.
And by packtags.com for all your swag and pat tag needs. Visit our website to get creative help, to trade our log tags, or to purchase your own personalized pat tags. With over 50,000 tags to collect, packtags.com is everything you need to start your pat tag obsession. Visit them at packtags.com. That's PATHTAGS.com.
And soon, Chad, that's going to have to include flash tags as well. Remember?
I know it is.
Yeah.
My mind's
that's going to have to change it up.
In there. Yeah.
I know.
Change the wording.
Chad, I'm not sure if I mentioned this last week, but I saw, Big Guy, our good friend Big Guy.
Mm-hmm.
I saw his flash tag, like a copy of his flash. I didn't see the actual tag itself. I saw a photo of the flash tag, and all I'll say is this, and that is, it's named flash tag for a reason. It's a big guy flashing his flash tag. So there you go.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's also by GeoGo. Go caching with GeoGo, the geocaching app for Android that includes a Where-A-Go player, trackable scanner, companion watch app, and county finds database. If you are an advanced geocacher, GeoGo helps do the powerful features like nearby cache notifications, optimized routes, offline mode, bulk TB logging, and much, much more. Learn them by visiting at geogo.com. That's GEOOH-go.com.
And finally, by Cashcraft. Cashcraft builds handmade devious geocaches, including their ultra devious real nail geocacher, as well as gadget caches, pat tags, and geocoin displays, and much, much more to get you out geocaching and keep you in the game. Also, be sure to visit their booth at Midwest GeoBash on July 25th and 26th in Ohio. Find their items at cashcraftnj.com. That's CACHECRAFTNJ.com.
Chad, whenever you read these out now as well, you actually emphasize the H's on everything. You know that, don't you? H, you do. Meanwhile, Chad, you can find the links to the sponsors on our website or
in our show notes.
Oh, I hope Scott's happy with that we're starting to feel like him, read like him, etc., etc. Anyway, meanwhile, Chad, before we go into the actual show and talk to Nick itself, we need to talk a few things, and that is, first and foremost, the brand new photo contest has begun. It is up on Facebook as we speak. It went up there today, and it is in the pinned comment. So it's the number one post on our Facebook page. If you got a good photo, a geocaching photo, and you think it's good enough to be a winner, let's be honest, Chad, last month, your ugly mug, and Scott's won the photo competition. But don't worry, you or Scott did not win the actual competition and the prize. That prize got given to the second place person who was a good friend of ours, Smile Makers Dave. From Wyoming. So well done, Dave, in Wyoming. You did a good photo too, mate, and you got so close to beating Chaz and Scott. But unfortunately, Chad, I'll be honest with you, I think it was your smile, mate.
My
I
smile.
really do. I think it was your smile. You
I,
had
I think that's the biggest grin I've had in a photo in a long time.
you had on the Chaddington Bear grin, mate. That's what it was, the Chaddington Bear grin. So anyway, if you got a photo, you have a look there and put it in the comments. If you don't have a photo, that's fine. Jump on, have a look, and see all the photos on there, and make sure you like which photo you like best. And that's how we pick the winners for next month. And a big shout out to cashcraftnewjersey.com for their help with everything in regards to the photo contest. They are the major sponsors, and they're the ones that give out the gift cards, Chad. The gift cards.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really cool. So cashcraftnj.com. Don't forget those as well. Meanwhile, Rob, what did I say Rob for? Oh, that's my other co-host of the Munsey podcast this morning. Anyway, wow. We've got email, chat. We've got an email from Ellen N. Railroad. That's hard to say. Ellen N. Railroad. They emailed Scott again, and they said this, chat. They said, when bear scat was mentioned on the Caching in Alaska episode, nobody asked the most important question, and that is, was it in the woods?
Yes, it was.
So it's true then what they say
since
about
I was
bears.
I was the only one that talked about observing it on the show. Yes, when I observed it in the woods.
There you go. So yeah, you do give it exactly. So LNN, there's your answer for it. Yes, it is true. They do that in the woods. Anyway, we're moving on now. We're going to bring in a Nick Hubbard, Mr. Cashley himself. Nick, welcome, mate, to the show.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yes. How many times have you been on the show now?
Boy, I should have had that number.
We should have had it for you.
5? Something like that?
Wow.
Something like that, yeah.
Wow. Well, let's be honest as well, Chad. With an app like Nick has developed, and obviously he needs all the airtime he can get because it's an absolutely brilliant app. Meanwhile, Nick, let's start from the very beginning a little bit, shall we? The history of Cashley. When did it develop? How did you develop it? And we won't even talk about it. And people don't even ask. No, it'll never be available for Android. Ever be available for Android. So stop asking.
People don't ask us much anymore.
Oh, that's good. You know why? I think because GeoGo has now taken over the Android market a little bit, which is really cool as well. So that's good. It's cool. But anyway, Nick, when did you actually develop Cachly, and tell us a little bit of the history of it?
Sure. So I actually found my first geocache way back in like 2006, and it was actually by mistake. So it was a guardrail cache, and my wife and I were walking somewhere and found a little teeny film canister. And we're like, oh, what's this? And, didn't sign it, put it back. And then later found out that it was a geocache. And then I didn't really think about it for quite a few more years. Anyways, fast forward to probably about 2012-ish. I had a friend of mine that was talking about geocaching, and I looked up the app and downloaded it. I was like, oh, this is a fun, activity to do. But I hated the app. So this was the old official app. I don't know if you guys, if you guys remember that, but it wasn't that great.
You weren't the only one that hated the app. So.
Yeah. I almost don't remember. I wish I could have some screenshots of it, but the usability, the user interface, the user experience, I did not like. And I don't want to criticize HQ too much, but I think they knew that it wasn't that great. That's why they developed the new one. So I thought, well, I've done a bunch of app development, especially I had done development for location-based apps like odometers and speedometers. I'd done things like that. So I knew some of the code of location services. And so I thought, well, maybe I could try to develop that. So I was lucky to get into the API program before they closed it for a long period of time. And then I worked on the app, did development, and it launched in December of 2015. So it's almost been 10 years here.
And I do believe as well, Nick, and that is I was one of the first to download, especially in the Southern Hemisphere where I was at the time as well. As soon as it came into Australia, because I think Joshua, the geocaching vlogger as well, he sort of helped out with the whole promotion of Cachly, saying that this is a new app, this is a new geocaching app. It's you can use it to replace or supplement whatever you want. And so whenever Josh said anything at all to do with anything, I jumped on it straight away, jumped on the bandwagon. So yeah, I downloaded it straight away, mate. I've been using it ever since. I haven't. The only thing, and people will say this as well, and you can't deny, you can't help this. This is not anything to do. This is actually a tech issue, and that is the only reason why I still have the official app is for the messaging service because I got Earth caches. So that's the only thing I use the official one for. Otherwise, Cachly all the way.
Yeah, and I mean, There's small integration with the messaging right now, and it just opens the browser, but you can't get push notifications, nothing like that. And I don't think we ever will, because when I asked about it, HQ said it was really a security thing, that they don't want developers having access to those kind of messages that are private. So totally fine.
Yep.
Yeah.
And yeah, I use the official app specifically for messaging and to check souvenirs and some other cutesy little things that aren't really necessary, but the messaging is definitely necessary for my virtual and caches, and also responding to people asking me questions. Yep.
Yeah, and I actually use it too, that or the website, because I have a couple Earth caches as well. So I will respond through that app or just through my browser. So
it's just easier, much easier. Exactly.
Yep.
Meanwhile, mate, after all that sort of stuff as well, you've gone to Cachly Pro. When did you go Cachly Pro system? What happened there with that?
Yeah, so that was like last April I launched it, and development was probably 2 years before that. So it came to a point with Cachly where it was like, things don't continue to make revenue forever. And I'm the only app developer. It's a side project basically. And it has to end up making money in the end. That's not the sole goal. I want to make geocachers happy and provide a great tool for people. But I had to think about, long term, can I just rely on purchases of $5 and then they use it forever?
Yeah.
And then you have some users that complain about that. You're like, oh, you're charging for maps. They're $3 for a lifetime, and they're mad about $3. So those are some of the users you have to deal with. But I'd say about 90% of the users, when I launched Cachly Pro, they were happy to support Cachly, to continue to support it. So yeah, I launched that as a subscription service to release some new pro features that are, not everybody has to have them. They're not required. Maybe not every user would even want them, but for those users that would choose to have things like the pro offline maps and counties and Delorme and different things like that, and upcoming CarPlay and a few other things, that they can help Cachly by subscribing to that service. So yeah, it's been going for over a year now.
I will say, for me personally, and I'm one of those geocaches whereby, if I got some time, then I'll open up the Cachly app and have a look around. That's the type of cache that I've always been. But now, thank you, Nick. Thank you, because now I'm sort of slightly addicted to this Delorme, like the actual, and you can see it a lot more now with Cachly, to the point where it, like, you got the different. There's red if you haven't got one in that particular county. You don't know what Delorme is, Chad. Tell people what Delorme is first before we.
So the Delorme maps are basically, they were a set of maps that broke out different states into basically rectangular square chunks, and so based upon the coordinates in there and how big the state is and various things, your Delorme pages could be of various sizes and stuff like that, but they don't follow any county lines or anything like that. And there are challenges out there that require you to complete the Delorme, all the Delorme pages, finding a cache and all of the pages in there. And it's really hard when you don't have an overlay to show you, hey, where are the caches in this particular Delorme page, and have I found this Delorme page? So this is a awesome feature, in my opinion. Whether whoever's app that has it. So I would love to have this feature. I don't think my Android Geo Go has this feature at this time. Maybe it's something that's in the works.
Meanwhile, if Chad, or if people are new to this podcast as well, there was a time, Chad, when I was in Australia. This is going back 3-4 years ago now. If you haven't heard this, if you have heard this story, you can listen to it again. But I sent Chad, because Chad, you kept on complaining about Cachly, and this is how you sound too. You said Cachly is iPhone only. It's not for Android. iPhone only. So I, being the good guy that I am, posted you my old Apple iPhone so you could download Cachly on that, and then hotspot from your
Yeah.
fake phone to the real phone, and then use Cashly from there, mate. And what? So have you been doing it since? I don't think you
No,
have.
I had issues with it. It would not unlock for me,
Yeah.
and I could get it to like come up and start and run for a few minutes, and then it would give me some Apple error message about the phone not being unlocked, and I even took it to a service here that's supposed to unlock iPhones and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and couldn't get it unlocked. So
Apple App Store, Apple Store is where you need to take it, not some backyard job that's sitting in the middle of the mall
the Apple
playing on his
Store
own phone.
says basically, no, this isn't your phone, so you can't unlock it. So,
oh, so you tried to backdoor it, but anyway.
so I tried to go backdoor on it. Otherwise, I from what I used the app, I enjoyed the app, and if I were a iPhone user, I would be using the app.
Yeah. But when we were talking about Delormes, we're talking about counties as well. You talked about counties before, Chad, as well, and that is they're all outlined now with the Cashly, this Cashly Pro. So you do, Nick. Tell us. I did have to learn. I had to teach myself something first. I had to download my fines first, and then upload them. So therefore, Cashly knew exactly all the counties and Delormes that I'd found caches in prior to from there too. So. Let people know how do they go about doing that without getting too technical.
Sure. So yeah, that's a little hiccup, and I actually submitted a request to HQ to allow the API to pull down that MyFinds GPX file, and they ultimately said no because I think it's a big it's hard for their servers to do it, as you've probably seen when you queue that up, it takes a little while. So yeah. If users get on there and they get to the screen, it actually has a little button that says like, where are my geocaches? So you can tap that and it pops up a help page, and it does give instructions on how to do that. I guess one hiccup is you have to be a premium member to download your MyFinds, I believe, because it's actually a pocket query. Haven't had any questions with that so far. I don't think anybody gets that far into wanting these features without being a premium member on geocaching.com. So that's good. But yeah, once you have the GPX file, there's a number of ways to get it into Cashly. Like if you pull it from an email, if you put it on the Files app or Dropbox or any of the other services, you pull that into Cashly, and then it will upload that into the database, and then kind of compute all the different areas and bounding boxes of all the different counties or Delorme pages, and then it will tell you where you have those finds. So, and then Cashly should keep track of it after that, unless you log it on a different device. So if you go and you log it on geocaching.com, Cashly won't know about that. So there is a way in Cashly to go to a find that you've done recently, and then to mark that as found in counties or Delorme. So you can manually mark one of those if you've done that as a find somewhere else.
I'll be honest though, Chad, you're probably one of these because you're not a Cashly user. But if you're a true blue Cashly user, I don't even get on a website anymore, Chad. I don't even get on the geocaching.com anymore. Do you?
I do. But I also use GSAC I tend to use GSAC to upload my finds. So, and basically GeoGo uses the same mechanism. You got to download your finds, and then upload it onto there to get a new refreshed database there for your county finds. And it's because of the limitations of the API. Makes sense.
Because some people have 30,000 finds, and so using the current methods to download that many caches would max out kind of your allotment for the day, and it would just take forever. So
right.
Yeah. And just wanted to mention that with the regions and counties, I don't just have United States. There's US, there's Australia, there's Austria, France, Germany, and the UK, and I can add other ones pretty easily. So I have a bunch of requests in from different people, like add my country. But I need to find good sources of data. I can't just be like, oh, well, these look like good regions, I'll pull those down. I need to make sure that they're accurate.
Yeah, absolutely. And I did notice that as well, because obviously I'm from Australia, so I did a lot of Australian stuff too. So I went through my my old state in Australia. Now, Chad, my old state in Australia, I know you used to be a Texan, Chad. So You think Texas is big. My old state of New South Wales is 2.5 times the size of Texas.
Wow.
It takes a long time to get anywhere in my old state. And so, it surprised me how many counties, regions I hadn't got anything in, even on my road trips. But it's funny too. I love watching wherever you are, whichever country you're from. If you have a look at it, and if you're when I say real geocacher, Chad, I mean like the fanatical ones. If you have a look at the county or DeLorme grid, you can actually see the line of green where you've been through the state, because that's where you do road trips. And you pull over every so often and grab a cache at the roadside too. So that's what I loved about it. I loved it. I did see on one of my recent road trips whereby there was one disabled cache. It was disabled because of the not roadworks, but the works was happening inside the rest area. So the rest area was actually closed. But lo and behold, here is this geocaching van with a big geocaching logo, trackable on the back, parked just before the road closed sign, and he's out and about trying to find the only one on the roadside in that particular DeLorme / county for going south. And I thought, I know what you're doing. You're a county hunter. Exactly. You are. So. No, very, very cool. So if you're in those other countries as well, so Nick, what you're saying? If you're in another country, then you're accepting requests for the counties, regions for that areas as well.
Yeah, I mean, if somebody can show me especially like government data for regions, and they usually provide it in a format that I can use, I'm happy to look at it and add it to Cachly, because I'm no expert in other countries' regions. So that's why I need somebody from those countries to be like, hey, here's the source. I know that these are correct. And then I'm happy to integrate that into Cachly. And I do have some requests. I can't remember the countries, but I just have not had a chance to put them in yet. So
yeah. I mean, growing up, but in Australia, in my first years of geocaching in Australia, I was one of the ones as well. Whereas I've only ever used an iPhone, Chat. I've never used one of those GPS things.
I haven't either.
That old school people use, like, I use a GPS. That's not me. I've only ever used my iPhone. And people used to say to me, you're in the Australian bush, Craig, and you don't have any cell service or whatever. I go, you don't have Cachly because you can download offline maps. Oh, and even the old school map, there's still one old school map that I always use, Nick, and that's the cycle path one, because that shows you with a dotted line the actual like not just cycleways but also footways as well. So all the where you walk and your trails and stuff too. All the walking trails. It's beautiful. I love it.
Yep, I use them as well.
So, Nick, what other maps do you have in the latest update, mate, apart from those?
Well, I mean, the Pro offline maps was something that was part of Cachly Pro, and I did a bunch of updates to those. So styles and things like offline map searching, where you can search for different features and places on the maps. The UK got a whole new style update that looks like their Ordnance Survey maps, which is really popular in the UK. So a lot of work there. And then I also rebuilt kind of the back-end server so that all of my maps are regenerated every single week. So it used to be, I had these 2 servers running, and one was processing kind of popular countries like US, Australia, Germany. And then the rest of the world I had on another server, and they would just take forever. And some things like Antarctica, which there's not many caches there and it doesn't change that much. And then like China, I hadn't rendered for like 2 years because it would take like a month to render the map.
Wow.
So I got a new server, found new open source software to render the maps, and now I can do the entire world in 6 hours. So not like 2 months anymore. It's like 6 hours, and then I just need to chop up the maps. So I can do everything in about 24 hours and have new maps.
So are you using like OSM map data or?
Yeah. OpenStreetMaps is what Cachly uses. So I always encourage users, if they have, if they're saying, hey, there's not a trail here, or there's something's missing on the map, go and add that. And then that will appear in Cachly probably within a week or 2.
Wow.
Yeah,
wow.
I love them because they're constantly being updated by other people.
Yeah. By users. So, and they're pretty accurate. I'll go out in the middle of the woods and go to a new trail, and they're usually there. Every once in a while there's a new little trail that's been added, and I'll track that, and then I'll import that into OpenStreetMaps because I want to help improve the maps. But yeah, it's pretty accurate.
And the other thing as well, Nick, and a lot of people don't know this, but this is a side hobby for you. This is a side gig. It's you're not. This is not your full time job. You're not making absolute mozza coin out of this sort of stuff too. This is literally you've got a real job too, Nick. Is that right?
That's true. I work for a university.
So a real job as well, and then you do this on the side. So
Yeah.
no wonder 6 hours for the actual world generated rather than two months. That's insane. Yeah. Absolutely insane. Mate, all right, let's move on now to the up and coming. This is what people always want. This is what some people are in the show listening for at the moment. Sure. One of the biggest things, and I think it might have been Skippy in the comments. He's asked in regards to CarPlay as well, the Apple CarPlay. I use Apple CarPlay a lot when I'm driving around because I'm full-time in my van. Not for Cashly. I just use it for normal mapping purposes. Not a big fan of the Apple CarPlay. It doesn't let you do much else apart from use the maps. Chad, I was telling you off air before. I can ask it a question. I say, hey Siri, what's the temperature outside? She comes back with me saying, "You're driving. I can't tell you that right now." I'm like, come on, like
that's pathetic. You need to get an Android. Sorry.
But anyway, Nick, I'm getting off topic here. But mate, Cashly 8.1, mate.
Yeah.
What's been going on with that?
Yeah. So, real quick, jumping back to this is not my full-time job thing. When I released 8, I said, here's Cashly Pro, and then here's 3 big features that are coming in the future. So I that in 8.1. And so some people think that, that I can just promise a feature and then just release it really quickly. Sometimes these features, especially CarPlay, which I'll get into, has taken significantly longer than I expected. Number one, I waited for almost 3 years to even get approval from Apple, because you have to have a special approval and you have to have these special files in order to even use the code and the framework for CarPlay. Finally got that approval, and then started doing development with it. And everything's different than iPhone. So you can't just do whatever you want. You can't just put buttons wherever you want and build an interface and have a list view with graphics however you want and buttons here and there. You have rules that Apple has set in stone, probably because of the car manufacturers and the laws in different states and things like that. But you have to follow their templates. So if I want to show a list view, I have to use their list template. And then when you have, the little items, like in Cashly, there's a list view that you can see. There's only so much that I can show. I can show an image, I can show a title and a subtitle. That's really all that I can do. I can't add extra buttons. I can't add little emojis in the text. There's a lot of restrictions. Now, where I do have a little bit of freedom is the map. So I'm using the Pro offline maps in CarPlay, and then I can render those how I want. So just not add extra buttons and things. So those will look very similar to the iPhone version. But essentially, it's been a complete learning curve for understanding how CarPlay works. The new code base. I had to start writing in a different language that I hadn't learned yet. So I went from my old language that I was using for most of Cashly and started writing in Apple's new language called Swift, which I now agree is far superior, and I love it. And now I'm using that for all of Cashly. Not rewriting code, but anything new that I build, I'm writing in Swift. As well as I had to do things like rewrite all of the state restoration code for Cashly, which is, again, kind of something that people don't pay attention to, aren't really aware. But when you leave the app on the iPhone and then you go do something else, come back, Cashly likely was killed by iOS. And then you have to restore all of the screens, all of the state back to what it was based on just some data that Apple gives you. Had to rewrite all that code because of different changes. So it's still, I'd say, like 85% done. We still got a few more features to add, but I get emails saying, "Hey, you promised this. What's the deal? I'm so mad. I signed up for Cashly Pro and this still isn't here." I'm like, I just have to say, I'm trying my best. It's not, I can't use the excuse all the time that it's not my full-time job. People don't care all the time, but just have to say, it's coming soon.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
yeah.
exactly. And Nick, you are a one-man band. Like, you don't have a team of coders with you. You are it.
True.
That's it. When I say one-man band, I'm not talking about coding. I'm talking about customer service as well. And knowing what's, there's a Facebook page out there as well for help. Nick, you do get a fair bit of help actually on
Yes.
that Facebook page as well from other well-known users of Cashly, which is really helpful to you as well. But yeah, if someone sends an email, you directly read it. If someone says in a complaint, you directly read it. You are the coder. You are everything. So yeah. So I mean, people can't complain in regards to this, about Pro and stuff too. I'll be honest. I'm extremely happy with what I've got right now. Anything in the upcoming things, and it's all going to be gravy for me. Chad doesn't even know what we're talking about.
Well, I know you're talking about, and from the people that I've talked to, it's Nick's very responsive as well to all those requests and issues that come into him. So
I try.
I applaud. Yeah.
Well, the one place that like you mentioned on the Facebook page, people help me out, but also I have my beta testers who help a huge amount. So especially during this CarPlay development, I think I have 25 beta testers, but there's about 12 to 14 that are like really active. And so I'll release a new beta, and then they'll go out there and be driving to work and different things, and they'll be testing, what I just added for CarPlay. So rather than, and I do get in my car and have to go, put my little CarPlay up on the dash and drive and test something. But they're also out there testing real world, they'll stop and get a geocache and get back in the car, all those kind of things, and finding bugs for me and reporting them in our Slack channel that we have. So the beta testers have been just extremely valuable, and I couldn't do it without them. So they are part of my development team, I would say, because I couldn't do it without them. So.
Yeah, I definitely also applaud beta testers in general, especially those that actually provide the feedback and good logging of the information and stuff. When it was observed and what was going on, etc. Because that gives you the extra clues that you need to know to figure out where in your software to figure it out. So.
Yeah.
If you sign up to be a beta tester, do it right.
Exactly. And one of those things, Chad, as well, that's really good, well said. If you do sign up to be a beta tester as well, is that make sure you take screenshots or screen records and stuff like that too. If you have an ongoing issue of something, the developers like Nick, etc., they don't know what they do, what you're talking about sometimes if you speak English, because they're speaking Swift, for instance. So it's hard to try and explain what's happening. It's so much easier. A picture tells 1,000 words, they say, and that's very much true in regards to this as well. So absolutely, mate. Nick, anything else in the 8.1 that you can leak out for us?
Well, just real quick back to CarPlay.
I'll get a CarPlay
because this has been like all consuming to me for like the past year.
He's excited about CarPlay.
Just so people get an idea of like why I developed it, is because you can put your phone up on your dash.
Yes.
Well, in at least in my country you can, and you just have a small screen. I mean, nobody's putting their iPad up there, so Cashly can track your location and it can load caches as you're driving. But I wanted a full dash experience, and so many new cars are coming out with like quite a large screen. And I've used some rental cars where it's like a beautiful wide screen, and Cashly displays really great on there. So I wanted to be able, you're just driving, you're just casually having caches pop up on the screen, and it's not trying to distract you. You can turn on upcoming cache alert, and it will pop up using Apple's actual notifications. But it's just generally a way to just be able to casually find geocaches. The caches will be just upcoming as you'll see them in the distance. They'll show favorite points, kind of like the official app. It'll have a little heart with how many favorite points you have. And there's some filtering and things like that. But essentially, you can see your caches, you can view them. You can't tap on the screen though to tap on a cache. That's one of the things that was really difficult to figure out. How are we gonna get around that? Because users are so used to tapping on the map. But that's one of the restrictions that Apple has, because they don't want people distracted trying to like tap one little place on the screen. So you have to view it in list view. Which we've figured out is okay. But you'll be able to do things like log a cache using your voice. You can create what's called trips on your iPhone, and then that will be shared with CarPlay. And you can manually sort those if you wanted to. If you say like, hey, I want these first 10 caches in a certain order, you can now drag and drop the caches in a certain order, or you can have it sorted by distance to your location. So a few things like that. And then there'll be, yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, would that be similar to, or what's that geocaching app now? I don't use it. I don't really like it at all. Cache Tour, that's it. They're the Cache Tour. So similar to that. So Cashly now is out doing. Oh, I like this even more.
Similar in that way. And one of the big struggles was like, once you have these caches that you want to go to, how should I navigate to them? So my initial idea was, I need to build a server that, takes requests, and then it calculates the route and then sends that back to Cashly. And I took time to build that, and then I'm going to have to display navigation, kind of like Waze does, and spent time on that. And then in the end, my beta testers were like, why don't we just use the routing apps that spend billions of dollars on their apps and just pass the geocaches to those? So in the end, you can use Apple, Google, or Waze, and once you want to navigate, we pass those locations off to those apps, and then they can do all the the traffic and updating routes and all that kind of stuff. And I don't try to have to figure that kind of stuff out. So in the end, that was a good decision, but I wasted about 2 months on just trying to figure out what we need to do in that regard. So anyways, that's part of the difficulty of this CarPlay thing. It's all new, and it's just figuring all these things out.
That's right. It's all trial and error as well, by the sounds of it as well. And I love how the fact that, some people have got back to you and said, why don't you try this instead? And it's like, well, that makes sense, so absolutely.
Oh, yeah, I'm happy to admit that I'm wrong about some things where in that case, I had beta testers saying that these routes are going through this little village when the freeway's over here. Like, why would it do that? And I'm like, well, the open source routing software I'm using said they go that way. And like Apple or Google would never do that. So I'm happy we made the decision to not use, my own routing server.
I wouldn't say that Google would never send
most of
you
the time.
The wrong place.
Waze is the worst.
I've had it try to send me off a bridge that's been out for 10 years.
At least I can blame them instead of saying, well, it's my, my software, and then I have to figure out why that's doing that. I can just blame, big guys.
Maybe Chad, they were telling you something, just saying, send you off a long walk after a short pier, for instance. That's the thing as well. But at least you but honestly, Chad, you've seen the TikToks out there on YouTubes and stuff like that. People do literally drive into water because the maps send them into the water, so they drive in.
It's like when it says the bridge is up ahead, I stop.
Absolutely.
But it's common sense, unfortunately, is not that common. Yeah, that's
true.
The problem too. That's exactly the problem. Nick, very, very cool, mate. I'm so looking forward to it. No wonder a lot of people are looking forward to it as well. This sounds like a really cool update so far. Anything else incorporated in this new 8.1?
Yep. So two other features that I promised that will be coming in 8.1. I'm not saying 8.1.0, but it could be 8.1.1 or 8.1.2.
I like
CarPlay is going to be the first release, and then I'll release these other ones later. But multi-user logging is another thing I'm gonna have. People requested that for a long time, and they said that app Looking for Cache, which was an iPhone app, had it, and people loved it, and I didn't fully understand or really get on board with it until my son was a geocacher, and he would use Cashly and on my phone, and he'd have to log me out. He would have to log into his account, fill out his log, and submit it, and then I'd give the phone back to me, and I would have to log out, get into my account, type my log, and it was just a huge pain. So I was like, okay, I understand now. So there'll be the ability to have kind of a master account, say it would be mine, and then I could let my family members authenticate with their accounts, and they would be in the app. And then when you go to the login interface, all those people would be kind of showing up there, and you could set it to automatically log everybody with a template, or you can tap each one and they can have some options. Maybe one person wants to favorite it. Maybe one person wants to type a different message. So you have a little bit of customization, but it allows for multi-user logging with, especially a family situation is where people like to do that. Or like a power trail if like there's a team of people.
Yeah, power trail. Chad, I'm thinking, are you thinking what I'm thinking, Chad? Are you thinking what I'm thinking? The turkey trot. We can give Scott. No, actually I wouldn't give Scott. We can't give him to you because you don't have cash.
We need to get someone responsible.
It's going to be on me. It's someone who's actually got a Cashly app as well. Yeah, we're going to have to get someone who's Cashly, Chad, and get them all login details for everyone, and then they can do the log for everyone for everything. Wow, there
Just
you
submit
go.
it all at once.
I'll buy him a beer. I'll be nice. Like,
I'll buy him a case.
That sounds really, really cool.
Yeah.
And Nick, that's very different though to a lot of other gaming apps out there as well. They don't, especially location-based gaming apps too, where they don't allow more than one account on one phone, for instance, at any one time. So because it's otherwise you got two or one account on two different phones, and you can be doing two different things around the world, like a husband and wife, for instance, share an account, then one's logging on a trip in Japan, the other one's in Australia. It's like, well, hang on.
Sure.
So that's that sort of thing too. But I like this idea with the multiple users, so therefore it probably enhances that gameplay for families, especially whereby the kids want to start up their own, but mum and dad doesn't want to log for the kids as well, so you can do it all at once.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think families is going to be the major benefactor for that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep. So there's that, and then the last big feature is just track recording. So when you're out on in the woods or something like that, you could start recording, kind of like Strava or something like that, but more for geocaching. And then you can save those for later. You can follow your route back. And then especially some users have requested where you can import routes and then they want to follow those routes. So like from other people. So there'll be like the standard GPX file that's for tracks or routes you can import. So just kind of that usage. So I think that one to me has less usage than the first two, CarPlay and multi-user logging, but I still over the years have gotten requests for that so many times. So just have to listen to the users and eventually get some of these features in Cashly.
I like that idea. That idea. So would that include obviously with if you're doing track recording as well, like actually physically tracking. So if you're going to do a power trail on foot, for instance, is it going to be like attached to your Apple Watch, for instance, in terms of your exercise ability and stuff like that too, or not?
Sorry, you cut out for a second. You're talking about exercising?
Yeah, like if you're doing something power trail on foot instead of anything else, is it going to track your ways through that way as well, like in regards to exercise or that. But there's I'm thinking of a different game. I'm thinking Munzie now.
Well, I mean, yes, you could do it on foot, and yes, you could track that. And if you're talking about actual exercise tracking, like on your iPhone, it will actually tap into that, and it will track your like calories and all that kind of stuff as long as you allow it to. And those will go into the health app. And then you'll see it as an activity for the day. So like if you care about exercise and geocaching at the same time, it'll pop up in your activity app and say, hey, you did a 5-mile hike as well. And here's how many calories you used and all that kind of stuff. So there's integration for that as well.
Nice. No, I was mixing my apps up because Chad, Munzie have badges. They have badges for the amount of miles you walk while Munzieing every single month. So there you go. Yeah, something Munzie have that I don't see GC having or doing at any point in time. But yeah, so I really enjoy that part of it too. So Nick, very good to have you on, mate. Anything else you want to sort of share with us before we sort of wrap it up a little bit, mate?
Those were the big ones. I mean, I do want to say that I'm still open for adding big features in the future to the Cashly Pro subscription. So by no means is this the kind of the end of the big ones. But those are the three that I promised I need to focus on first, release those, and then come out with some other ideas or have suggestions for other ideas.
No, really cool. Yeah. One more big, huge question. This was actually asked in the chat room a couple of times, and that is, do we have a date for 8.1?
It's so hard to say that.
Even just like roundish figures.
I'm hoping by the end of the summer. So
that's good. Yeah,
Northern Hemisphere summer.
I was going to say northern or southern
in the U.S. Yeah, that would be my goal. But if it doesn't happen by then, I'm sorry.
Don't hold you to it. Exactly. No, we won't. We definitely won't hold you to it. No, honestly, Nick, thank you so much, mate, for all you do for the geocaching community. I'm telling you now, iPhone users like myself love this app. If ever, on TikToks or whatever, the biggest thing I get all the time is what app do I use? Yeah. Most TikTok people are kids. So I always say to them, use the basic app first,
Sure.
download it, and then once they get addicted and they learn to, actually there's more to this game than what they think, finding just hidden boxes in the woods, then get into Cashly, then look at, and then they get the addiction in a different way. They did the addiction through DeLorme or through county fines and challenges, and then, so much more. One thing, Chad, as well, I will say, you were talking before, Chad, about the digital souvenirs in the official app. Mate, you have not seen the digital souvenirs until you've seen them in the Cashly app. They look pristine, absolutely gorgeous. Whenever I get a new digital souvenir, I actually screenshot it from Cashly, never from the official app. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's a high resolution, Nick, or is it my phone, or is it just the fact that I love Cashly more than I do the official app? I don't know which one.
I don't know. I think they're higher resolution.
I think honestly, I think they are actually higher resolution. They do look better. So I screen cap them from Cashly itself, and always then upload it to my social media like Instagram and things like that too, and say, I'm trying to catch Josh with souvenirs. What do you want at the moment, Chad, with souvenirs? Roughly.
What do I want with souvenirs?
What are you on at the moment? Like what number roughly are you on with souvenirs?
Oh.
Because Josh at the moment, he's
or something.
He's up there at 380, 390, and I'm trying hard. I'm at 330 something. So I've got a few more things to do first. A few more states to go first before.
Where am I at?
That's one of the things when people talk about stats is I develop Cashly and I don't get out to geocache as much as I should. So like my fines are like in the 200s. It's 266 is my fines right now, because over the last 10 years I will be working on development. I'm not out geocaching as much as everybody else. So that's why anyways, don't give me a hard time about that.
No, we won't.
I did just find a virtual at 11,500 feet in Oregon by Summit Eat a Mountain recently. So that was one of my exciting ones recently. That's a nice one.
Yeah. And sometimes it's not all about the numbers. I mean, Scott may be different because he's not on the show, so we can sort of bag him a little bit. Scott's one of those ones where if he goes to on a cash weekend, it is literally cash from sun up to sundown, and even more too. Am I right, Chad? Am I right? You've been with him before.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I was doing that last Friday and Saturday, sun up, sundown. And so, got something like probably 150 caches.
Wow, that's intense.
Nick, we got a little bit more time, mate. I'm going to put you on the spot. I'm going to say to you this: give me 5 of the most requested, now active things that occur on Cashly. For instance, I'll give you an example. One of my favorite things that when you brought it out a few years ago now, and that is if you log on Cashly, you log your fine on Cashly, whatever, and you go, oh crap, I forgot to actually give it a favorite point. You can go and hard or long press the little heart, and boom, it'll give it a favorite point straight away on the actual thing. So give me 5 ones like that if you can think of them. Yeah, look at you, your mind's racing now, isn't it? Whereby people have asked for something. Oh, you do? Whereas people have asked for something or that sort of thing, and you've gone, you know what, I can do that. So give me 5.
So you're talking about like overlooked features that are cool in Cashly.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Little features like that just make the world of difference every day.
Sure. So one of those that people really like is highlights. So just like highlight colors on a cache, because people use those for tons of different things.
Yes.
For an upcoming trip, they use it for so many different reasons, and then you can do filtering based on highlight colors. So there's that. Saving images to personal notes. So that's a feature that people really like. So when they, especially for gadget caches, different things like that, where they have to do calculations and things, they might put a photo in there, and that syncs through their iCloud, so it can go to another device. Editing your logs, so like that's nice, because I always make mistakes in typing. Let's see, live search filtering, so you can actually set like up a filtering template for live searching, say traditionals with this many favorite points and blah blah, a bunch of search parameters, and you can save that as a template. Then you can do other ones, and then you can switch back and forth between those templates. So that's really nice. Apple Watch app is nice.
Oh yes, that is nice.
Yeah.
One thing, and this is an older one too, Nick, and it's happened in several different ways. I found that sometimes Cashly is always going to be ahead of the official app, and that is the FTF. As soon as an FTF was available, it came up on Cashly with the little FTF symbol next to the actual cache itself, and that's before they did it in the official app too. So I really love that one. The amount of FTFs I've got because of that is just insane.
Me as well. I wouldn't really know about them. I do get the emails, but yeah.
But when you're traveling though, you don't have a home base, and so I just literally. I search for the caches in my area and have, there's an FTF over there. I'll go look for that one. So yeah, that's really cool.
And then proximity alert. That's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
That's always fun to have a target cache or, an offline list and a bunch of caches, and then just, put your phone in your pocket and have it alert you on your watch or, ding your phone. So that's really nice. And then let's see, a small one people probably don't know about is you can find elevation for anything. So if you long press anywhere on the map, it'll drop a pin. And then if you tap the little ... button, if you tap the pin and that comes up with the little call out, it'll actually say your elevation. Obviously for that one, you have to have internet connection.
Yes.
But that's kind of helpful and nice. So yeah,
that's helpful for a lot of different Earth caches or virtuals out there that require that information too. That's really cool.
Yeah.
I like that one. Nick, again, before you go, one more thing.
Yeah.
Waymarkly. Was it Waymarkly? You created Waymarkly.
Yeah.
Remember that one? But there was also the other one I'm thinking about is for not Waymarking, but Wherigo. The official Wherigo app you created for headquarters too.
Well, I did the last multiple updates for it. So there was an original developer, and then HQ bought the software from him. I think that's well known. Anyways, and so they needed to update it. It was very old code base. And so then I took it and I was paid to do all the updates and make it look great. And, has tighter integration with Cashly and things like that. They allowed me to do that. So yeah, I've done a bunch of development for HQ on that app.
Perfect. One more thing, mate, and this comes from a question now from the actual chat room. Pasha88, Chad, you want to bring that up? She asked, is there a way to search logs by keyword? For example, if you went caching with someone who didn't log their caches for 6 years and now wants to log all their finds, can they find their logs that they were actually mentioned in?
You can do, so in offline lists, you can do filtering by log text, but that has to be in the database. So when you pull down caches and you download like the full cache data, it really only pulls 30 logs in for each cache. So to go back like the entire history of logs for a cache, there's not really a way in the API that they provide for partners like Cashly to do that. You'd probably have to use a more advanced tool like Project GC or something.
Yeah.
If you want to go back, because some caches have thousands of logs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So you'd have to be
6 years ago. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So unfortunately, not an easy way in Cashly to do that one.
No, sorry about that, Pasha. And one more thing, Nick, and that is that it was only this week, actually. I was out caching itself, and I had a friend of mine, and they were using Cashly, for not the first time, but they don't use it that often. And then I showed them. They said, "Oh, I think I found this one." And I said, "Well, hang on a second." And I showed them how you can find your friends' logs really simply on a cache, or find your own log as well very quickly on the cache. Well, Chad, did you know that? Did you?
Yeah.
Yes. That there, I love that feature as well. Love that feature. You get straight to it. Bam, you can see all your friends that you actually found the cache before you, and it's a great feature too. So, well, anyway, Nick, that's it. That's it for the episode. That's it for the show. Thank you much for joining us, mate. We do appreciate it.
Absolutely.
And we are every person with a real phone is really looking forward to Cashly 8.1. I don't mind. I don't mind the hate. Everyone's looking forward to Cashly 8.1, and you heard it here first, and that is hopefully, cross fingers, it'll be out by the end of summer, whether it's the Northern Hemisphere or the Southern Hemisphere. Either way, not make mention of that. But Chad, next week's show. Next week's show, Chad. Scott's not here again.
Yeah.
It's like, what the? He's the only one. Nick, if you don't know, you're a small business guy and whatever.
Yeah.
I think Scott's the only one who actually gets paid for this show, and he's not even here for these next two, this episode or next week's episode either. But anyway, next week, as I'll try and say it like, do you want me to try to say it like Scott? Guys, he says it a lot. Guys, next week's show, guys, Geo Go updates and discussions on next week's show, so be there for that. Chad, are you interested in that? Are you looking forward to that?
Oh yeah. So I use that one on Android. So
So if you're listening to this show and then listening to next week's show, you hear me heavily talk about this because I use Cashly often. I'm an Apple user. Next week's show, Chad, you're going to be doing all the talking, mate, because I've got no idea.
am I?
I don't use Geo Go. I'm hoping it's very similar to Cashly, but just an Android
It is.
version of it.
So it's got a very similar set of extra features and I'm not sure if they call it Pro or they what do they call it, but I'm subscribed to that. Let's see, what do they call that? There is a mode for those of us who want those extra features, and I'm not sure if they call it Pro or not. I've been subscribed for that for years. So, and yeah, it's a lot of the things in here is like, yep. I definitely am familiar with that with the app that I have available to me, and yep,
Perfect. So
there's a couple questions here. It's like, ooh, is this something
you're ready to go with
here?
that?
It's like
That's really cool.
the DeLorme. So I know they've had Android Auto integration for a good while. The multi-user logging, that would be interesting to add. Now, one thing that I heard while out caching last weekend with someone who was using CGeo was, as we were approaching a cache, it actually started when we got to within 528 feet. It started prompting us and saying the cache is 413 feet at 11 o'clock. It's 350 feet at 10 o'clock. And it started talking to us on it, and it's like, well, that's pretty cool. So I'm going to be asking about that feature. I was going to ask Nick here, but Nick's time is up. So
alert feature, but it's speaking the distance.
But it's speaking instead of the dings, which I'm used to the dings. So this one started speaking and giving direction based upon clock face direction.
Yeah.
I don't know how that would go though with the younger generation and their clock faces. They're like 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. What's this thing talking about? It's not digital. The younger generation nowadays only know digital. They don't know clock.
They're gonna turn that. They're just gonna turn that off.
Yeah, they will. They'll just turn that off. Oh, that's for the old users. They'll say that's for the old users.
The geezers.
So, exactly. Chad, we don't have any call out music or anything else at all. So all I'll say is thank you so much, Nick, and thank you, Chad, and thank you for everyone who watched and everyone who listened after this has been recorded. Make sure to hug your loved ones. What else does he say? I can't even think now what else he says. I'm going to have to watch some of his extra shows. Anyway, I'm going to say what I say, and that is this is See My Shell. Thank you so much. I'm over and out. And end, Chad. End. There you go.